Hello, hello, welcome to Missy's Imaginings. Here I have some BJDs that are displayed, and I have one in a box. We're going to go ahead and do the box opening. And I have opened this guy on camera before, so you maybe have seen him already. But we'll go over who they are and then who's in the box. So the first one I have is a BJD March that I bought, and we'll kind of, let's see if we can take her hair off and get a little bit better, closer look at her face up. So this is a BJD March, and I bought her quite a while ago and just had fun doing kind of a little creative fairy outfit for her. And this pattern is on the website. It's super simple. It's just a little like bathing suit top, bralette top, and then some little shorts and the shoes, and then you just cut some pieces of tulle and loop them around like a rubber band or a little ponytail for the skirt. Very simple. The over top is just made of tulle with some little flowers sewn onto it, so this can untie. Here, we'll untie this and take a look if it'll go over her hands. So it looks like this. There we go. So there's a little top, and then the little flower top looks like this. So just some simple fun, just some floral stuff for a little fairy girl. So I thought she needed a friend, and I recently bought this little guy. He is a Resinsoul bow or bow, B-A-O, I think is how it was written. And he's by Resinsoul, so she is the blue resin, and he is a light green resin. And I don't know, I can't remember if he was supposed to be in blue and he mellowed. I don't remember what the paper said, but he looked greenish in the photos, but I thought it would be a good compliment to her, so they can be buddies. So anyway, so I have him, and I just wanted to show how these can tend to be very kicky, just very, very kicky. But when you wire them, so now we'll straighten them out. Now she's been wired, so she just holds a pose really well. So wiring your dolls can really add to the posability of how they can, and I didn't wire her hands because these little tiny ones don't have S-hooks in the hands. They just have elastic going actually through the hands because this channel is so small. But I did wire through the shoulders and the elbows, so she's not cakey anymore. So wiring does help with that. So I have these two. Oh, and then her little feet, there they are. So these two are the same size, so I thought they could be buddies. And then I ordered this fella a long time ago. He has not been wired, so as you can tell, he's very kicky. I have done nothing with this guy, and he came with a face up already, so I don't know if I will change that or not, but he's kind of completed except for an outfit and a wig. But I thought it would be fun to have a friend for him as well, so I bought this. Is a, oh, and just a quick word regarding this. Is a Resinsoul wrong, I think, R-O-N-G. I think that was his name. So Resinsoul wrong, Resinsoul bow or bow, and a BJD March. And the reason that these are going to look very, very similar, I believe, and you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe Resinsoul is the doll company and BJD is the casting service. So BJD is a doll caster, but they're not necessarily a doll designing company. That's why a lot of the sculpts that are on the BJD site are the same sculpts as Resinsoul, because there's some that they actually sell as on their website as well. But the reason that there's a lot of duplicate sculpts and the prices are very similar, I believe, is that BJD is the doll caster for the Resinsoul designs. Oh, we have a visitor. All right, come on in. This is one of our new hairy children. This is Robin. He's our little tomcat, and he's very curious to see what's going on. So we do have two little furry babies, and they are into everything. And so there we go. So that's Robin, and he's going to have to move while we open the box. So anyway, I think that is the case. So the Babobi boxes, like if you buy a Resinsoul doll, often it will come in a box that says Babobi, which I actually even have one. I think the gal that I bought to be a friend for Leo, she came in a Babobi box. So this one is a Resinsoul May, M-E-I. I think Me is the M-I, the 60 centimeter doll that I have. And I think M-E-I is May. I'm not sure. But anyway, and I don't even know if I'm opening the right side of this box, but we'll give it a shot. So this is the Resinsoul May, and I ordered her. She's supposedly pink. Oh, here we go. I'll give the kitty something to play with there. So let's see what box she comes in. So, and here we go. Oh, look at that. I love it when things I say are actually verified. So see how it says Babobi Doll Mall? But this is a Resinsoul doll, but it comes in Babobi box because they are the caster for the Resinsoul. And so this is the MEI, and this is what the box looks like. It's in really nice shape, and it says May in pink with no face up. And from Babobi, the cost is $152. Then we will take a look here. Now, she was supposed to be pink, which it was hard to tell in the photos, so I'm hoping it will be pinker than she looked. But I'm wondering if she's just going to look like a skin color, but we'll check it out. So my doll was purchased from Denver Doll Emporium, and it says May on here. I can go ahead and write in the order number and all that from my order online, so we'll put that out of the way. So she comes in that really nice box, and then a silk pillow or a satin pillow here. Oh, and here's Benny. Come here, Benny. This is our little girl. Say hi. She says no. I want to climb around. So that's the little girl. She's kind of a tortoise tabby, kind of. She has large markings instead of the typical little tabby cat markings. It's more of a tortoise marking, but she's very sweet. So here is May. Oh, she is a little bit pinker than I expected, and you can't be in this box. You have to get in the other box. Oh, and looking in the other box, it looks like I missed out on something in here. What is this? Oh, a surprise. Look at that. Some little pencils. I didn't even notice those. And my shipping information. Oh, there we go. All right. There you go, Dolly. You can get in that box. There we go. So that was fun. So we'll take a look at May here. Okay, so she is kind of a skin color, but she does have a nice pink color to her. So I do like that she's pink. I wish she was more pink, but it's okay. Because with a fantasy face or a fantasy face up, I think she's going to be fine and fit in with the rest of the gang. So let's go ahead and make sure her fingers are okay. So we'll open this. There we go. And this hand is lovely. I do love the Resinsoul hand sculpts. They're just very delicate. I really like them. I like them on the 60 centimeter Me body. I have two of those. And then I have one, well, I have one that's Me with a Me head sculpt. And then I also have a me body with a fairyland head sculpt on. And I just really like these sculpts. And I love the hands. They're really pretty. So here's the little me. And of course she's very kicky. And like I say, that's very typical. She does have one joint, single jointed knees. There we go. And then the swivel hips, but she does not have the joint here in the thigh. It's just a solid piece. And then the ankles are jointed, of course. There we go. And then her body is a two-part torso. So she just has the one division here. Then her elbows also are a single joint, and then her wrists. And the one thing that is different on the me, where I haven't purchased her beforehand, because I really do like her face sculpt, is she has a lot more narrow shoulder. So in their body designs, she has a very narrow shoulder, similar to the third scale body with the day or die sculpt, that has very rounded, narrow shoulders, where the other sculpt is a lot more sway back and it has more squared shoulders. But I kind of preferred the other sculpted body for the friend to Leo. And then of course May has the pointed ears that I didn't want for the other sculpt. But since she is going to go with all of our little fairy crew, then she can have the little pointed ears and fit right in. So I really love these sculpts. I think they're just very pretty and delicate, but at the same time they're not like super heavy, but they do have a little bit of weight to them, so they feel like a good quality sculpt. Then here is the Resinsoul plaque on the back, which is different from the other sculpts that have just like, oh, and he's just like all wonky here. They have more of just the little RS on the back, but hers actually has a little plaque that says Resinsoul on the back of her head. So that's new to me. I haven't seen one like this before. And then that's the inside of her head. And she came with like gold colored eyes, which of course I will be switching out. It seems like whenever you buy a doll that comes with eyes, usually they'll have this golden brown color, and it's not my fave, so I have a lot of extra of this color of eyes. And then I went ahead and put the gray in him because he of course came with that color as well. So I think it's the color that nobody really wants unless it's for a specific project, you know. But anyway, so he has the gray eyes now instead. Oh, and here she comes. Hi, Benny. Her name is actually, well, when we got the kittens, they told us the gender and they told us wrong. They were the opposite. So she was going to be Bernard, but she ended up then be Benny, but now she's Bernadette because, well, you know, she's a girl. So here, we'll switch. I don't know if we can see them playing on everything. There they go. So they're just trouble. What are you guys doing? So yeah. Anyway, so back to our dolly project here. We'll move the camera back. I will go ahead and be making a basic set for the May, because I do not have one that would fit this doll exactly. The other doll, Shun, is a little bit taller than her, and like I say, has the different body sculpt. So her basic set is on the website, but I have not done one for this doll. So I did post one recently for this little fella. So his is on the website, and the March is on the website, and I'm not sure if Wrong is on the website or not, so I'll double check. But so here are the 4 fantasy little sculpts that I have of the smaller sizes, And then I do have Long and Me that are the taller ones that I've posted pictures before. But so there's our doll opening. We'll go ahead and do a basic set for her. And then I might even, I don't know, sew up a jacket or something today. So we'll see how it goes. And until I come back to the camera, toodaloo's. Well, and now, since they've been playing like crazy, it's time to take a nap. they, they get pretty wound up, and then they're pretty tired, so there we go. So yeah, after all that rambunctiousness, now they're ready to take a nap, so there we go. Too funny. They go 100 miles an hour, and then they crash. So now that they're done, maybe I'll go ahead and get some of my other projects done. So, since I had everything handy, I've just kind of been hanging out and watching creature features and taking care of a few things here and there. But I thought I would go ahead and get this doll wired, just if you're curious to see how I do it. So I have some wire here that's just a basic florist wire. I don't remember the gauge anymore. I used to have some really pretty colored wire that I bought at Dollar Tree, but they haven't had it for ages. So now I'm just down to using some florist wire, and it looks like this. And it's not super strong, but not super weak either. So I don't even remember what gauge it is, but it'll work. And then I have some vinyl little circle discs that I cut a hole in that I use as shims. So I'll have one for under her head. I've got a couple for the hips, the knees, maybe the shoulders and maybe the elbows, and then the ankles. And it just gives a little bit more tension and stickability, creates a little bit of friction in the joint to where it kind of helps them to stay put when you're posing them. And then I have some medical tape that I use to put around the bare ends of the wire so that my wire isn't scratching up the doll. So the first thing that we'll do is take off her head so we can kind of get started that way. And so I have a couple stringing hooks and a head hook. This one I just made from a clothing hanger. This one I bought. Then I have some short and long forceps and a pair of pliers. So these are kind of my tools that I use. So first, there you go. So first we're going to go ahead and turn this and take off her head, and then I will be changing out her eyes as well. So then, this is like the part people sometimes, if they're not familiar with these dolls, they kind of get nervous about, but we are going to move everything out of the way. Hopefully my cat won't decide to eat that. But I'm going to lay out the doll, and then I'm going to take out the S-hook. There we go. And we're going to take her apart like so. And then let's see. We're going to remove. And then I like to keep the hooks or the feet and hands on the correct side and all the leg parts. Then the hooks I will keep in a spot where my kitties can't eat them. So then we'll take out the hands. There we go. And keep it on this side. Take out this hand, keep it on this side. Oh, there we go. So now we have the elastic that looks like this. So if you're going to string a doll, here's just kind of a rule of thumb if you want to see how it looks. There we go. Is once it's folded in half and knotted, generally I don't like to have it quite this long. Sometimes I'll have a little bit shorter to where it goes like from mid forearm across the shoulder and then mid forearm, but you can see this one goes almost to the wrists. So this is a little longer than I like it, so I am going to remove the knot. Stop going. And put the knot a little bit smaller, and that knot came out so easily that I'm going to make a different type of knot as well. And then give that a good pull, and now we'll see when we stretch it out. Here, you go down there. Thank you. Here we go. And then this will stretch. And now it goes more from mid forearm to mid forearm, which is the length that I prefer. So there we go. That way it has good stretch, but it's not too short. And then I'm going to cut this so I don't have all these big tails. And somewhere I had a garbage bag, but I don't know where I put it. Okay, so there's the arms. And now for the wire, we'll take a piece of wire, and I usually double the wire. And so what I want to do is I want to fold this in half and see how long it is in comparison with how long I'd want it to be. Because here again, I want it to reach from mid forearm to mid forearm. So that looks like it's going to be about perfect. And because I'm going to fold it on this side, I only need to tape this end. So I'll find my end of my tape. Okay, so in the end I'm going to go over a little bit here, and now just tape the end. So that gives me a soft end, and then this is a nice rounded end, so it's not going to scratch anything. So my next step is to go ahead and feed the elastic and the wire through the doll so that we can put that together. And I try to keep the knot in the very center of the doll. So I'll look down through the torso to see that my knot is in the center. And now I'll proceed to string the doll. And here I'm going to have to make my hook a little bit smaller. See if it'll fit through there. And then I also, well, let's see, I'm not going to do the forearm yet because I do want to use my discs. So let's see. We have a large one for the net head and large ones for the hips. So I'll keep those out of the way. And then we want a smaller one for inside the shoulder. Here we go. Okay, and now I like to put the cloth side towards the inside of the joint and the vinyl on the outside of the joint to help give that tension. And let's see, I'll maybe do the elastic first. Just to string it through there, and then put the wire through it so that that goes up inside the joint. There we go. Now we'll put the wire in there as well. Okay, so now that I have this side, I'm going to anchor this on the forceps so it can't pull out as I do the other side. And then I'm going to push the wire through so that I have it about the same on each side. And put the wire in here. Alright, now we'll do the same thing on this arm. through. And now that that's anchored in there, there we go. Now, we can go ahead and do the forearm. And I don't think I'm going to worry about a disc on the forearm just because that joint is so small that I think the wiring will be enough without the extra tension of a disc because these elbows are so small. If I can get my hook to go inside, we'll make that a little smaller. There we go. We'll have to open it back up to get it off, but there we go. Okay, make sure the wire goes inside the elbow, that the elbow is turned correctly. All right, now we'll pull that out, and now it'll be ready for a hook and a hand. There we go. So there's the hook in the hand. So now we'll go through the forearm on this side and get a hold of the elastic. And then the other thing we want to make sure is that we've got enough wire. There we go. Inside that elbow joint. Okay, and then we've got about this much wire sticking out on this one. And I've got the hook on there, so I'm going to go ahead and go over the forceps and pull, let's see, push the wire through a little bit more so that it's a little more even. There we go. Slide the, I'll put one here. Now we'll pull that through. And now we're going to be ready for the second hook. And sometimes on these, especially with dolls with a lot of tension, you want to be really careful not to get your fingers snapped in that elastic, because that can be very painful. So there we go. So now this doesn't have enough wire on this side. So now there we go. Balance that out. And there we go. So now the top part is finished. Now for the legs, this elastic is going to go all the way up to the neck. So we're going to take this out. There we go. And I think this was a decent length because it felt like it had good enough stretch to it. So we're not going to change the length of this, but I am going to change the knot. Pull it up. Okay, so here our knot is pretty much in the same spot. There we go. Now when I do the knot for the legs and the head, I don't like having a knot up inside the head, so I try to always make sure that the knot is going to be somewhere in the torso rather than up in the head. Stop. So this is going to be the part that's up inside. So what I'm going to do is feed this through the neck. I guess I'll use the other one. And bring it up through the head. Okay, so now they're next to each other. And then we're going to go ahead and put the disc on for under the head. Easier. And then put the S hook on. Okay, so that way my S hook is in place and ready. And now I have these ready that will go down through the torso and into the legs. So we're going to go through the torso on one side and then the other and just do one joint at a time. So the first one we'll go ahead and do this, and then we'll put the disc on, and then we'll come up and get one side, and then come all the way down through here, and then also through the thigh joint, and then we're going to go ahead and anchor this off with the forceps. There we go, on one side. Then we'll do the other side. And the disc. There we go. And we'll go up through the torso. Click on the other elastic. There we go. Come down through the disc and this part. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and use forceps on this one as well. And I have a big one here, but that's okay. So now that I have this part done, I want to get my wire ready for the legs. So once again, I'm going to take a wire, and then I'm going to fold it in half and see what that length will give me, because this wire isn't as long as what I used to buy with those real pretty colored ones. So I'm going to see if that length will be what I want, and it is. Whoa, so I'm going to use 2 wires, and I'll bend them both in half. There we go. And I'm going to connect them at the ends. And since this doll has only a 2-part torso, I'm not going to take the wire from up here at the shoulder all the way through the torso, because her torso is only 2 parts, and it has a pretty good lip to keep it in place. So I'm not going to worry about wiring the torso right now. I'm just going to wire the legs. So the wire, I'm going to tape the ends. There we go. So I'll tape the ends so that they're not sharp, and then I'm going to feed it down through the torso and through those hip joints, and then down through the bottom of the knees. And now she is all wired. So now, no more kickiness. And she holds her little poses pretty well. There we go. And the little vinyl discs kind of help give a little extra friction, and so they don't go quite as snug in, but that's just an option. If you don't want to do that, you certainly wouldn't need to. And but I prefer this as to hot glue sueding, just because I don't like putting hot glue all over my dolls. It tends to get really gunky looking and messy, and I don't like it. I still have some clear vinyl that I may put in the wrist joints just to help them hold, but for right now they seem to be doing fine. But if they get a little floppy, I may do some little tiny clear vinyl in the wrist joints, because then it doesn't show as much either. But most of these joints don't show that much inside of clothing anyway, so it just adds a little bit more tension and helps them to pose. And like I said, her midriff is not real kicky. It's only a 2-part torso, so I don't need to worry about the wire from the collarbone down. I just did the wire over the hip, and there we go. That even holds pretty well. So yeah, that's how I wire a doll, and I hope that's helpful for you. So the next thing will be to make her a basic pattern set so we can draft some clothing.